like you said, people are modeling this behavior to some extent and degree anyway. They have shopping lists or they have calendars, and to that extent or degree, they have a small part of an external brain. The real aha of GTD or the wow of GTD is this one thing having just something outside, and it's like you're on a different planet once you have everything outside. It's like you look at the world, it's different.
It is.
Yeah.
It is very different. And see, the problem is, unless you have everything out of your head, you don't know how much is left. Right? Even you can have 95% externalized, but you don't know it's 95% because you don't know what's lurking in the 5%. So there's a huge, to your point, light year difference between a lot and all. They're two very, very, very different worlds. Most people, quite frankly, are a little intimidated or uncomfortable with the idea of actually having nothing on their mind. You can't have nothing on your mind. Come on, if you're conscious, something's going to be on your mind, at all. But if the only thing is on your mind is the only thing on your mind, then you're in your zone. Then time disappears. That's the productive state, if you will. And when you're in your zone, there's no distinction between personal and professional. You're just on. There's just what's next. Right? And that sense of freedom is, I'm a freedom guy. I mean, that's how I discovered this and why I was so attracted to these tools and these techniques, was because they just produced more freedom for me. And you're back to your earlier point. It's not really about time management. Time is a critical factor in life, much like space is. Space and time are there, but you don't manage space and time. You manage what you do around them. So a lot of what GTD is about, though it's not about time, it's about what am I doing, what are my activities, and those will require resources, money, time, space, and so forth to get them done. But until you actually define what those things are, you don't know how much time you need. People say, well, I don't have time to do X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, what's the next action? Well, I haven't decided that yet. Well, you don't know what you need time to do. And most people are amazed when we sit down and work with them that they actually come up with next actions. How many next actions they can finish in a minute or two if they just thought about it and figured out what it was, even about very strategic things. And most people have just these huge bottlenecks because they're resisting the thought process that GTD introduces them to.
I can so relate to the last thing that you said. One of the earliest seminars that we did in India, in Bangalore, we had a very senior guy attend. He's the CEO of one of the biggest ad agencies in India. And as we were going through the fundamental thinking process, what's the project, what's the next action, and then if it's, can you do it in 2 minutes or less? His jaw dropped. He said, oh my God, Arif, oh my God. I can't believe how many of my next actions are just 2 minutes. Thank you so much for sharing that. This material, there's something about material. And he was just blown away. Absolutely. And he didn't know that he could get so much done because he didn't ask what's the next action. And
Sure.
now once he did that and also asked if I can get in 2 minutes a desk, I can finish everything.
It's amazing. I've coached one-on-one desk side, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours I've spent with some of the best and brightest and busiest executives in the world. And it's amazing, oftentimes, if I'm spending more than one day with them, on that first day, they're delegating, they're doing 2-minute actions. The next day, they're getting stuff back that's already not finished. They're going, oh my God, this stuff really works. We're getting things done. It is truly surprising, because truly things tend to constipate organizationally uphill, not downhill. The higher up you go. If all you're doing is cranking widgets, you're not tending to avoid your work.
Right.
If you now have to implement diversity for 1,000 widget crankers, let me go do something else that requires thinking, because the higher up you get, and the more accountable you become, and the more responsible, not just executives, but anybody who's got a busy life and wants to be involved in a lot of things, that can get pretty ambiguous and pretty unclear if you haven't trained yourself and built the muscle of thinking, wait a minute, what's the next action? And it really is like a cognitive muscle that GTD introduces you to and that you start to build. And you can practice it and you get better and better at it.
Yeah.